So as you guys probably noticed, the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro has just dropped, or at least been announced, and they are pretty significant filmmaking cameras, and I do definitely predict that these cameras will be the most used cameras in 2024 and 2025, and I'm going to explain the reasons why. And this is the 15. I don't have the 16 yet, but let's get into the video. So what's going on, my friends? I hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and obviously giving me a thumbs up. Now we have to talk about why I think this filmmaking tool is going to be incredibly useful for a lot of people, specifically real estate content, documentary filmmaking, travel videography, having it as a B cam, or even just people getting into the world of filmmaking and can't afford, expensive mirrorless cameras. This is something that is going to be really affordable for many people. Now the iPhone 16 has 3 different cameras, just like the iPhone 15, but now you have 2 48 megapixel cameras with the standard lens and the wide 13mm lens. It's now 48 megapixels, and that is an extremely useful focal length when it comes to real estate videographers. 13mm is perfectly fine for real estate because you want that wide angle and you want that high resolution, so everything, will be nice and sharp and crisp. No one will even notice the difference between using an iPhone or a professional mirrorless camera. Especially when it comes to these wide establishing shots and wide shots pushing into different rooms, you really just wouldn't notice any difference. That is the great thing about having something like that, especially when it comes to that real estate videography. Now, when it comes to real estate videography, will that actually replace a mirrorless camera? Well, obviously not, because you need longer focal lengths. You'll most likely need talking head shots, but it is really good to supplement your professional cameras with something that literally fits in your pocket. Now, obviously, you would utilize this with a gimbal. You can actually walk with it because stability, even with the iPhone 15, is pretty incredible. And I would imagine the iPhone 16 would be just the same, or if not, a little bit better. But iPhone gimbals are extremely cheap and very small and compact and light. You could literally shoot for hours with those. But if you just want all the wide sweeping shots, you can literally use your iPhone and no one will notice. You can integrate it within your footage. Now, what they did actually add in the iPhone 15 is what's still in the iPhone 16 is Apple Prores. Now you can actually record externally through the USB-C directly onto a hard drive and then literally just take the hard drive out, put it straight into your computer, and you can start editing straight away. That is extremely useful for these types of situations. But they actually have faster transfer times when it comes to that USB-C as well. Now, also with having the ability to record directly to an SSD is that you are going to utilize that ProRes RAW, but you're also going to save space on your phone. So you can still do your day-to-day tasks with your iPhone, but then also take that hard drive out and, start editing with that onto your PC or onto your Mac. Now, also with these 3 focal lengths, one major thing that I think is extremely important is for documentary filmmakers. Now, I actually just recently shot a partial doc when it comes to skateboarding. Now, we did have a gold medalist in Australia, Arissa. She went over to France, won the gold medal. She's only 14 years old in skateboarding, but I shot some of the portions here in Australia. Now, what happened is that they weren't able to take their mirrorless cameras into some venues to actually film it. So they actually just pulled out their iPhone and started filming. And this is actually going to be in the documentary. That is extremely important because if you walk in with, professional cameras and you aren't actually allowed to go into a specific venue, then obviously it's game over. You can't get the footage. But if you just pull this out of your pocket and start filming and still, match it up with some of the footage that you're actually going to be using throughout the whole documentary, that's crucial. That literally is crucial. And I think that is a phenomenal thing for us filmmakers in today's society because we actually have the ability to tell the stories with something that's inside our pocket and obviously, not sit outside with our professional camera gear because we're not allowed to be inside the venue. And now integrated in with the iPhone 16 is actually new microphones. Now, it's meant to really isolate, I suppose, the actor, the talent, and really use noise cancelling technology as well just to make it much more cleaner. Whether that works well or not 100% sure until we actually get it in our hands. But these microphones are actually far better than you actually think. And I'm actually using the iPhone 16 microphone right now. It's only because I'm in a really nice, well-treated room that this actually sounds really good. You could literally get away with recording all of your audio directly with this, as long as you're in a really good room, and keeping the microphone as close to the speech bubble as possible, because that is the most important thing there. If you bring it further away from the talent, this is where, it starts to show professional microphones are better. But having it really close is extremely important. And even if it is further away, this is where that noise cancelling would probably kick in and maybe isolate it a little bit more. Not 100% sure, but it's pretty exciting that, you can utilize these things for professional audio. Now, one thing they did actually add for filmmakers and photographers is a dedicated shutter button or a camera control button. So if you do turn it onto the side like this, you've got the button on here at the top right-hand corner. Now, you can actually slide it to zoom in, change the aperture and all those kind of features. Obviously take, a photo or hit the record, but you still have those professional camera controls in there as well, which you can control majority of your features. Now, they do have the Blackmagic camera app, which is absolutely fantastic. You can record ProRes through there as well. And this is what's going to get you, much better controls. And I think that is a really good app to utilize even with the iPhone 15. Now, does 4K 120 look good? I mean, it looks okay. It's not obviously like a professional mirrorless camera. It still is perfectly fine. It really just depends on obviously color grading, story, lighting, and all those kind of things that sort of come together to make the image look good. But it's still giving us more options than what we had previously. Now, obviously, when it comes to smartphones, we will have third-party options that we can actually purchase when it comes to lenses and filters and cases and all those things. I've actually got the Freewell case here. Now, this is where I can actually attach this anamorphic lens directly on here, which gives me a 1.33 times anamorphic squeeze, and I can shoot some pretty nice footage with this. Have I used it a lot? Not really, but that's mainly for the fact that I have other professional cameras that I generally use instead of the iPhone. So when it comes to anamorphic lenses, I just use actual anamorphic lenses on my cameras. Now, one feature when it comes to filmmakers or pretty much anyone when it comes to the video realm or literally anyone who has an email address is that they've actually integrated something very similar to ChatGPT, where you can literally rewrite the email directly in that. And I'm not 100% sure how that works, but when it comes to, trying to quote someone a job, or when it comes to, replying to different companies, this is really good because a lot of us filmmakers aren't amazing when it comes to writing emails because it's not our forte. We're creators. We tend to do the creation part better than the business side. But having these professional features literally just in an iPhone is pretty crucial. And if you are on job and you don't have time to go home and write an email, I mean, it helps all of us. It really does. Now, when it comes to photography, I did see that they actually have LUT integration where you can choose a whole bunch of different looks. Whether that's going to be coming for video, I think you can do video. I'm not 100% sure. Comment below, let me know. But that is pretty interesting because I know a lot of cameras nowadays, like the Lumix S9, you can input your own LUTs and just have a whole different looks that you can actually go through because, looks is what makes your footage unique at the end of the day. And having it within your iPhone is pretty important, and it's keeping up with the times as well. Now, look, overall, you can see the iPhone 16 is going to be a pretty important camera for the filmmaking industry because low light performance is going to be better. The versatility and the size is just, it makes it so much easier and accessible for a lot of people to get into filmmaking and practice their cinematography storytelling. So I think it's a really good move from Apple to really introduce better camera features and trying to, cater towards filmmakers more. And in all honesty, I don't think camera companies should be worried, but when it comes to smaller point and shoot cameras, this is where things get a little bit interesting because iPhones can be a little bit better in terms of versatility and size when it comes to those really small point and shoot cameras. So will that kill those ones off? Maybe. That's probably where, Sony and Canon should really stop producing some of those really tiny 1-inch sensor ones and focus more on their APS-C and full frame line, because that will sort of increase the gap between the iPhone and the mirrorless cameras. So anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know if I've missed anything, because obviously I'm shooting this as it's pretty much announced, well, at least it announced earlier. I went to the gym, came back, recorded this video, so I know I've missed a whole bunch of information, but I think personally, in my opinion, it's going to be a great filmmaking camera for the next couple of years. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Let's get it.